Hello, Bubbly Bears. This is Mrs. Brown coming to you this week. We're going to have Character Week, talking about story elements. Story elements. As beginning of the school year, we always talked about the title of the book. What is the name of the book? And then who writes the story, the words? You have your author. An author writes the words in a story. And of course, we can't forget the illustrator. The illustrator draws the pictures. But now, boys and girls, we also know they're characters in the story. That's who the story's about. It could be people, it could be animals, it could be things. But we have to talk about characters. Say that word, characters. And then, boys and girls, we have the setting. Where did the story take place? Were we at McDonald's? Were you at Grandma's house? Were you at the park? Were you at the beach or in a castle? Setting of a story. Boys and girls, this word is called plot. Say that word, plot. The plot is the beginning of the story. What happened? What happened in the middle of the story? Then what happened at the end of the story? That is the entire story called the plot. In some stories, there's a problem. It's called the conflict. What was going on in the story? So that is the conflict, the part of the story. And then we want to know, how was it solved? Say resolution. Resolution is how the story was solved. So boys and girls, show me 5. You have characters, setting, plot, conflict, resolution. Give me 5. I need the characters of the story. I need the setting of the story. I need the plot, the beginning, middle, and end. If there was a conflict, and how was it solved? Put those things in your memory bank and let's get started. This week, we're going to take a book each day. We're going to analyze the story and you have an activity to do. So the first story we're going to read is Leo, the Late Bloomer. And there's our title. And this book was written by Robert Cross, and Josie Arguero is our illustrator. Leo, the Late Bloomer. Let's read about Leo. There's our title page, Leo, the Late Bloomer. Leo couldn't do anything right. Oh no, do you ever feel like you can't do anything right? He couldn't read. He couldn't write. He couldn't draw. Poor Leo, he's having a late start. He was a sloppy eater, and he never said a word. So he didn't talk much. He only focused on the things that he could not do. "What's the matter with Leo?" asked Leo's father. "Nothing," said Leo's mother. "Leo's just a late bloomer." Better late than never, Leo's father thought. So, parents are talking about their baby. He's just a late bloomer. Think about what they're saying and what that means. Every day, Leo's father watched him for signs of blooming. Oh, look at Leo. Doesn't look like he's blooming yet, does it? And every night, Leo's father watched him for signs of blooming. During the day, no blooming. During the night, no blooming. "Are you sure Leo's a bloomer?" asked his father. "Patience," said his mother. "A watched bloomer doesn't bloom." Did you hear that? A watched bloomer doesn't bloom. So if you're planting something, we've talked about apples and pumpkins, you can't sit there all the time and watch it. It will never what? Grow or bloom. So Leo's father watched TV instead of Leo. So now you see Leo's attempting to play with the ball because he knows no one is watching. The snow came. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. All the other animals were out building snow people, snowmen. Leo is doing absolutely nothing. The trees budded. Leo's father wasn't watching, but Leo still wasn't blooming. Look at all the other animals having him a good time. And Leo is doing what? You said it, absolutely nothing. Just not blooming. Then one day, in his own good time, Leo bloomed. Wow, look at that picture. He could read. He could write. Take a look at that. He could draw. He ate neatly. Go, Leo. Go, Leo. He's getting it, boys and girls. He's getting there. He also spoke, and it wasn't just a word. It was a whole sentence, a complete thought. And that sentence was, what do you think that sentence was? Let's find out. I made it! So guess what? Leo might have been a late bloomer, but when it was time for him to bloom, what did he do? He did it. Just like with you. You may not know all of your letters, your sounds, your lightning words yet, your numbers, or how to count, add and subtract, but guess what? You have to keep going, and guess what? You're going to what? Bloom and make it. So let's look at the activity that I want you to work on today. It says, Bubbly Bear's version of Leo the Late Bloomer, and there's a picture of Leo. You see that picture of Leo right there? It says, I can now, For example, what is something that you can do now that you couldn't do when you first started school? We've been in school a couple months now. What is something that you could do now that you couldn't do then? Guess what Mrs. Brown could do? I can now teach virtually. There's my computer. Those are your screens you get ready to pop on so we can say good morning. I've never had to do that before. I had to learn how to do that. And guess what? I can do that now. So anything that you could not do, think about that. Write it right there. Stretch out your words. One word, I can now, and whatever that is, write it. Then draw a picture of you doing it. Quality work. Great job. So now, who are the characters? Leo and his who? His parents, really, his family. That's right. Where did the story take place? Where do lions live? Yeah, they live in the wild. What was the plot? At the beginning, Leo could not do anything. He couldn't read, he couldn't write, he couldn't draw, he ate sloppy. But then as time went on, the middle of the story, Leo, his dad was watching him too much, right? But at the end, his dad stopped watching him, and guess what? He bloomed. He bloomed, so the problem was solved. Okay, so that's how we go about with the story elements of the story. Good job. Now, we're going to go to another book. The name of this book, one of my favorites, check it out. The Boy of Color. The Boy of Color. Let's read this book. The Boy of Color by Sherry Nielsen. Here we go. Once there was a boy named Blue. Blue loved colors. Coloring and painting were his favorite things to do. His name is what? Blue. And he could color and draw very well. Let's see what happens. He colored with crayons, markers, paints, and pencils of all colors. He loved to color. Look at that. Look at that beautiful picture he made of that rainbow. He drew pictures, paint portraits, and designed his own clothes. But one day, Blue ran out of things to do with his colors. He decided to ask everyone in his family what should he do. So look, you see that question mark? He said, I don't know what to draw or paint or color anymore, so let me ask my family members to see what they say. So let's keep reading to find out what happened. He went to his father, and his father said, Boy, do as you please. He went to his mother, and she said, Follow your heart. Did they really tell him anything? They didn't tell him what he wanted to hear, did they? Let's keep reading. He went to his big sister, and she said, I don't know, leave me alone. Blue was disappointed. These were not the answer he was hoping for. So his mom, dad, or sister didn't really give him the advice he wanted to hear. So let's see what Blue does. So Blue went to his room and lay on his bed. Staring up at his ceiling, Blue thought about what he should do. Look at Blue. He's thinking. Sometimes we have to think for ourselves. Is that right? Absolutely. He began to pray. God, what should I do with my colors? And God gave him the answer he was looking for. Look at this little boy talking to God, praying about what he should do with his colors. Let's see what he was told. Red is for love because hearts are red. Yellow is for joy because the sun is always bright and full of joy. Wow. This is what he's told. Red for hearts, which is love. Yellow's for joy. Let's keep going. Blue is for peace because rivers are blue. And the Bible talks about having peace like a river. Green is for patience because nature is green and it is mostly calm and steady, never getting in a hurry. Peace, patience. So blue is for peace. Green is for patience. Look at those words. Look at what he's thinking of. Wow, this is incredible, isn't it? Purple is for faith because mountains are purple. And to have faith, you have to stand like a mountain tall. Black is for self-control because darkness is black. And when we go through dark times, we have to trust in God and practice self-control. Self-control. Wow. Love the story. Here we go. And orange is for gentleness because autumn is orange. Remember fall? That's that word, autumn. And after the hot days of summer and before the cold days of winter, autumn is the gentlest time of the year. And that's what we have now. Gentleness. Gentleness. God let Blue know he was the boy of color, and he was to teach others what to do when they saw his colors. And most importantly, Blue was to remind others that God created all colors and that they are all beautiful. That's right. There are no bad colors, boys and girls. Our skins are brown and peach, and we're beautiful. Everything around us is beautiful, especially people of different colors. Look at that. Such an amazing story. Now, the main character in this story was who? Blue. That's exactly right. So where did this story take place? At his what? His house. There you go. What was the plot? At the beginning, what could Blue do? He could color, paint, and things just came up in his mind and he would do them. But then there became a problem. He got stuck. He was trying to remember or create something new. So he asked his who? His dad, his mom, and his sister. Did they help him? They didn't really help him. So what did Blue do? He went back to his room. Did he quit? No. He went back to his room. He laid down and he said a little prayer. Then every color represented something. Red for love of hearts. Yellow was what? For joy. Blue was for what? Peace. We had orange for gentleness. Green was for patience. Black was for self-control. Purple was for faith. How amazing. We are all unique. Everything around us. So now, what I want you to do is you're going to also do an activity from the boy of color. It looks like this. It says, draw a picture of something you think about in your favorite color. So what is your favorite color? You are to write that color on that line and tell me what it's for. For example, this is what Mrs. Brown did. You cannot copy mine. No one can do what I did. It's mine. Pink is for smiles. And look at that. When I think of pink, I think of smiles because pink is one of my favorite colors. So you're going to think of your favorite color, write it on that line, and what does it make you think of? Happy coloring, happy thinking. Don't forget the story elements, characters, who the story's about, setting, where does it take place, plot. There's a beginning, middle, and end. Conflict, what was that problem in that story? Some problems are in a story. And then resolution, how did it get solved? Happy character week.